Hello, ITT fam, ITT lovers, ITT listeners all over the world. You're listening to another insightful episode of Inside the Techosystem, podcast where we bring you fun and insightful topics about tech and its ecosystem in Nigeria. I'm your lovely host, Chuka, and I'm joined by your sort of lovely co-host, Emmanuel, on the other end of this recording. What's up, man?
I'll always let it slide, because I'm so cool,
I'm actually thinking, like, at what point do we stop introducing ourselves? I mean, dude,
never, because
w-
the intro
don't
is
you
what
think, like,
the intro is what sets the pace, I think I'll ban the word,
but like,
on this episode.
can't we can't we just go? Yeah, listen to Inside the Ecosystem. All right, let's just get into it. I always have to say, it's Chuka.
I think
everybody's Chuka, and it's Emmanuel. Please, support our ministry.
Eventually, I get to that.
Okay, guys. We actually really missed recording. We have not recorded in a while, and we're pretty sure everyone listening missed hearing our voice. But surprise, surprise, this is not a full episode. This is not an actual episode. This is a sprint episode, and today's sprint episode is titled "Embrace the Boredom." Yes, I said it. Sue me.
Who came up with that title?
It was actually it was inspired by a part of a book I read called Atomic Habits. And I know we talk about Atomic Habits on this show a lot, Emmanuel and I, because I was reading Atomic Habits, I didn't finish it. Emmanuel picked up the book, finished it before me, and then started educating me and stuff. And then Emmanuel had this thing. I think it was during the pandemic. I'm not really sure. But Emmanuel was always saying, embrace the boredom. But I don't know what was happening with him at that point. But we really prayed for him. We actually kind of, we prayed he got help. And I think he's doing okay now. So, like I said, yeah, Emmanuel basically finished this book before me and started lecturing me on the book, just like he always does. Anyways, so I think let me finish now. I think during the pandemic, he was becoming a very big advocate for embracing the boredom. I don't know where this came from. I actually do not, but it was all over WhatsApp, Twitter, Instagram. He's always like, "Oh my God, being bored is good," and I'm just like, "Dude, let us hear."
No, I never said being bored is good.
But you kind of insinuated it.
No. What I said was, like, boredom is, people are always bored. So I was like, it's just okay to just flow with flow with the boredom. So instead of fighting it.
Okay. So basically, do not fight
that. Okay, sounds like meh. Okay.
Let's get to the episode. Okay. All right. So today's episode, like I said, is embrace the boredom. Yeah, and we'll just be touching on a few points and a few things we think everyone should know and everyone could apply in their daily tech life, or even your daily life in general. So what? No,
yeah.
no. Stop.
Tech life is good now.
All right. So, first of all, we'll be starting off with the question: can tech get boring? I know you guys always see, everyone with their flashy MacBooks and what else? What other things do tech people do on social media?
Wear simple clothes. Go for events. Events that are sponsored by like big companies.
Right, guest stickers.
Traveling. All sorts of cool stuff, yeah.
Being overpaid. Oh, I didn't say that, guys. I'm very sorry.
Oh my God.
Basically, I know it all seems rosy from outside and stuff, but do you guys ever wonder, does this ever get boring to these people? So yeah, Emmanuel will be taking that question up. So yeah, can tech get boring?
It's obvious from the title of the episode, and asking the question means it's boring. So yes, tech can get boring, and I won't say the boredom or the boringness in quotes is different from the normal boredom. Like, see, like boredom is boredom. If you are bored, you are bored. So tech can get that kind of boring. So yeah, tech gets boring.
Okay. So when do you think things get boring, right? Like what aspects of tech will get boring? Like if you can even give us personal experiences, like your time in tech, like what has gotten boring for you that you have been like, I should probably be doing something else with my life right now.
All right. So I think the number one boring thing about tech would be, let me not say number one, but something that like everybody will experience as long as you want to apply for a job, or as long as you want to do like normal 9 to 5, is job hunting. So job hunting is very boring. So initially to be exciting as far, oh, I'll apply to this, I'll apply to that. But after your first 5 or 10 rejections, you begin to take it as a chore where you just, okay, you create a list of companies you apply to, you write your cover letter, blah blah blah. Like even filling the form now becomes very tedious. So job hunting is is one of the things that is very boring in tech, because like you're not doing anything really fun. All you're just doing is, okay, I can write code, please employ me. But you have to do it like in different ways. Some
Yo,
some companies will force you to do so many things just to get an interview. So
yo,
it gets boring.
I've seen the worst side of job hunting. I think we should actually have an episode on job hunting on this podcast. Really, I've seen the worst side of job
Yes,
hunting.
definitely.
As in, it got really bad at one point. I'll just open the job portal and I'll just keep on applying. Yo, in fact, guys, like, nah, man, that job hunting thing is terrible. It's terrible, really. Okay, I'm going to try and mention some other things. I'll take one. Emmanuel will take one, and we'll just keep going. Okay, so I know Emmanuel said job hunting, but for me, hmm, maybe because I did not have to job hunt for a while, right? I used to get a lot of referrals when I first got into tech, but right now, my brothers and sisters, no easy. Anyways, for me, I think one aspect of tech that can really get boring is repetitive work, right? Um, I know it all seems like people are building really cool stuff and they're really making a big change in the world and stuff, but sometimes it gets repetitive in the sense that, and not to shade on, anybody's industry or anything, but if you were working in fintech, yeah, if you're working in
Off
fintech
your
for a
mic.
long time, for a long time, let's say 2, 3 years, and then you change your company and you go work in now fintech, you probably still be doing the same things, right? I have a friend that, and Emmanuel, not the friend that you think of, obviously. I have another friend, this one doesn't even work in fintech, and I think he tweeted something one time that, Omo, so are we just going to keep consuming APIs till we die or what? Right? So I guess I guess at points like that, it could really get boring. Like you just wake up in the morning, clock in, and you do basically the same thing all through, and repetitive work will get boring. Mano, would you like to hit us with another thing for you that you think will
Yeah,
get boring in tech?
yeah. I think when you're overqualified for a role and you're doing like too little,
Mm,
I think Nigerians generally that work for companies abroad always feel
mm.
this way initially.
Are you
Like,
serious?
in Nigeria, no, in Nigeria, like when you work in Nigeria, like you work your ass off like all
Yeah. Oh,
day, all
true, true,
night.
true, true. You do,
Then when you
you
join
get,
like an
you do like
international
7 rows
company,
at the same time.
yes. So when you join an international company, you just like, you're so relaxed because they
Mm.
don't, like, they're not telling you to build 3 things in one day or something like that.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you at first will be feeling like you're not doing enough, and that
Mm.
can get boring because
Mm.
you literally have to be waiting for people to tell you what next to do, and since they don't rush as much as we do here,
Yeah.
that can get boring.
Yeah.
Then I think one is, and another one too is remaining in a position for too long.
Yeah.
So if you remain in one position, like, well, aside from position, I think I can say something like team. So you can be a
Okay.
software engineer for like 10 years,
Okay.
but as long as you're switching teams, you're working on different projects, yeah, that can keep your let's say morale up
Yeah.
and like keep the job interesting. But if you're just on one particular project for too long,
Yeah.
it gets boring, and then you begin to lose your creative juices towards
Yeah.
that project.
Yeah.
So I think we shouldn't talk too much about the aspects so that people don't start looking for how to avoid all these things.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can't escape
actually,
it though. Sorry,
yeah,
sorry,
the
you
title
can't
of the
escape it.
episode is Embrace the Boredom. You are going to face it whether you
Yeah,
like it or
so
not.
yeah,
So
you have to
it's better you
embrace it.
just get ready. Okay, so I'm going to say one or two things about what Emmanuel said actually. Being that overqualified stuff is so crazy. So uh he said Nigerians working for companies abroad, yeah. I don't know if you know Wonder Kid on Twitter. Is it Wonder Kid or Wonder Kind? I'm not sure. Mogwai on Twitter. And he tweeted, I think he got into tech recently. He's a artist, designer and stuff, but like I think he started coding recently. And then he tweeted that his onboarding is 3 months. Guy,
Don't say
what's
that
the
thing in Nigeria,
what's
man.
the longest onboarding time you've ever had? And what's your shortest as well? We worked in the same place, so you
Me,
can't
my
lie.
own
You
was
can't lie.
my first. See, I'll just be very plain. My first, I got to the office that day. I sat down
Yeah,
with the CTO,
yeah,
and he just did a little introduction. He said,
yeah,
"Oh, is your laptop here?" I said, "Yes." I set
yeah,
up database. I set up every single thing that day,
yeah.
and the next day I started recording.
Was it where we worked?
Yes,
Okay, okay,
that's the
okay,
shortest.
okay, good.
And then
What's your longest?
the longest is my current role because
Okay,
there was there was no other developer. There was only
yeah,
one other developer, and the project was with a freelance company. So I had time to like brainstorm and
okay.
understand the product before I started coding. So I think the second one, my current job is like the
What
longest onboarding I've had.
what do you think is the optimal should be the optimum time for onboarding? I know it will vary and it depends and stuff, but like
Me,
um
I have nothing to say towards it, though, but the articles I've read because I've onboarded a couple of developers in my
mm-hmm,
current company. So, but
Agba.
what I've noticed is like it is not here. What I've noticed is that it depends. See, like Nigerian developers are actually special, though, so
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't underutilize them. Let me not.
Oh man.
That shouldn't. I'm not
Dude.
trying to sound like we're using people, but a
Dude.
Nigerian dev wants to work. Like he or she wants to work very hard. He
Yeah.
wants to like build stuff. So if you just give them the Silicon Valley treatment
Mm,
where, like you're just, oh, when you're free, can you check this out?
yeah.
See, you'll be losing so much potential. Do you get?
Mm,
So for a Nigerian company, definitely onboarding is also important. It's very
mm,
important. So I
mm,
think from the articles I've read online for that's big tech, like onboarding can take like 6 months. So, but in
okay.
Nigeria, 6 months is not really a time that a lot of startups have because they're all trying to survive.
Yeah,
So,
true.
I mean, you
Like
can't because
if
it
they are
takes a lot of
employing you
resources.
and they are paying you,
Yes,
you are not going to be
and they
doing
are
onboarding for 6 months.
exactly.
Trust
hmm
me.
So I think for Nigerian companies, depending on the role and depending on how well the foundation is, so the foundation will be like how well their code is documented, how well their processes are documented,
Mm,
how fast their team was already building before the new guy joined. So the new guy is now going to join based on the strength of the former team. So if the former team
mm,
was okay, the onboarding should take like I think a month, 2 months, about 2 months. So onboarding entails like being able to understand the product completely, or at most, sorry, at least 70%. So
yeah.
it doesn't mean the person will know the whole thing. Even see some people stay in one. If you join some companies, any company, I don't think you can know everything that's going on in like one
Yeah.
year
Sure.
because things grow very fast. So yeah.
Mm. Well, I actually feel you, but I'm not going to agree with that. Don't give Nigerian devs Silicon Valley treatment. Why? Hear me out. Hear me out. See, hustling is actually ingrained in our blood. Like, it's injected into us. Like, we are born to hustle, right? Now, if we eventually get to that Silicon Valley level, please let them rest, okay? Let them
Oh,
cool their
Silicon Valley
head.
level is different. So there's Silicon Valley level. Like don't get me wrong. If you hire an intermediate developer in Nigeria, the
Mm,
person is most likely like has built stuff, but is
mm,
still hungry for more. A senior
yeah.
developer in Nigeria here will probably not kill himself for your company. He will probably just like do clock in 9 to 5 and move on. Weekends, he won't pick your call. But an intermediate developer or a junior developer in Nigeria, like see, you can call them on weekends and they will pick call. Like
Oh
you can
man.
literally just like chase them around. Do you get? Because
Mano, if
they
you
are
want to
hungry to build.
talk to me direct. Don't go through the corners.
Are you okay? So what I mean by not on that, it's like, sorry, what I
Yeah,
mean
I
by
feel you, Sha. I
underutilizing
feel you. I feel you. I
devs is
feel you.
basically just like if somebody says I want more, I want to do more, then give them more. Do you
Mm,
get? Not that they're saying they don't want more, you're forcing more on them. Yeah.
mm,
So that's to
okay.
clarify
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. I think that's actually much better. All right. So let's just keep it pushing. Yeah. All right. So what do you think? What would you recommend to people in tech when things get boring? What do you think they should do? Right? Should they
I'm sorry
quit their
guys.
jobs?
I'm sorry guys. I'm not going to give you anything you want to hear. Anyways, yeah, continue the question.
Okay, like what should people do when things get boring at their job, or because we've talked a lot about how when we get started in tech, we're just so energized. We're like, oh my god, we're going to build the next Instagram, Facebook, and stuff, and then sometimes things don't just pan out the way we all expect, right? And
Yeah,
Emmanuel, we
definitely.
keep saying devs, right? But this is inside the ecosystem, and every single ecosystem person is included. So whether you're a dev designer or whatnot, this this episode actually applies to you as well. Sorry, we keep saying devs, we're just devs, right? So we can relate more on that side. So my apologies. So yeah,
Yeah.
Emmanuel, your advice: don't be too harsh.
So I'm sorry. The title says embrace the bottom. So to be honest, like there's literally nothing much you can do against boredom. It will always come. I have a PS4 in my house and I've not played it in like 3 weeks.
Mm,
Like I struggle to go and play FIFA. I struggle to go and play games. Something that normally like game is something that should be always be interesting. So that's just to point out the fact that anything can get boring, no matter how interesting the thing is
yeah.
in itself. So embrace the boredom means that whether the job is boring or not. Okay. I think if the job is boring, is a different case. So
Mm,
embrace the boredom works well when you're working on a particular project and you're trying to solve a particular problem. And because you're having a blocker or things are becoming difficult, or you're entering a new field you've never been before, so you have this something like a writer's block.
mm,
So in that case, I'll tell you to embrace the boredom because wonderful things happen after that. Like I've tried it. Trust
mm-hmm,
me, I'm trying to debug a particular problem and then I hit a roadblock. Like I do a search on Google and it returns nothing. Guy, imagine that. So what happens next is that you want to pick up your phone or do something else to take away your
mm,
mind from such a very difficult problem because Google
mm-hmm,
did not help you. So usually what I'll do is I'll just stay like, okay, well, Google doesn't know it, then I'll have to figure it out myself. So I'll stay with the problem at least 5 minutes. Then what happens usually, like after the 5 minutes, I get a solution and I'm like mad. So if I had left the problem to go do something else that is in quotes interesting,
mm-hmm,
I would have not gotten that breakthrough.
mm,
And the more of those kind of breakthroughs you get, like the more your brain, the more you're training your brain to be able to like get past the boredom and get past like difficult problems. So
mm,
that's for when you're having boredom on a particular project. But for a job, for a job, I think you should always try to learn something new.
mm,
So if your job becomes repetitive and redundant, most likely means you're not innovating your methods. For instance, if you write, for instance, for someone that said connecting to APIs now or consuming APIs,
mm,
what if you find out something different, totally different, instead of connecting to APIs? I don't know how that sounds, but there's always something new. I mean, tech, like there were no computers in like last how many years, but
yeah,
there are computers today and there are more things that you're building. So for a boring job, you should try and learn something new, like
yeah.
outside your responsibilities. That will like spark like some excitement in you and help you go through the repetitive stuff you get. And
Mm.
then yeah, I think those two are actually really major because
Okay.
if you're not learning anything new, you just keep doing something you keep doing the old stuff like
Mm,
repeatedly. Yeah.
mm. So Emmanuel actually makes a lot of sense, yeah. And learning
You're
something
always saying
new,
that. It's
yeah,
not like I have
because
sense anyways.
you're always making a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm serious. It's actually quite smart sometimes. Anyways,
I'm
learning
flattered.
learning something new is definitely yeah, it's definitely a way to try and tackle this because I mean the one of the cool things about tech is that it offers you novel solutions and ideas almost every time. You could you could come across very, very different crazy products almost every day. Like, oh wow, I didn't know this existed. You could literally be thinking,
Yeah,
oh, I
yeah.
wish I had something to blah
Product
blah blah
hunt
blah blah.
guy.
Right? So some of these people, I know you guys have heard a lot of people come on Twitter and say, oh, I was just bored, so I decided to do this. Even though they've been working on that thing for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
past 1 year.
we all know that
but
secretly.
but it just goes to show that sometimes if you stay in that bored state for a while, some of your most
Yeah,
innovative
yeah,
ideas can come out of it. So
definitely.
yeah, trying to pick up something new is definitely a very good way to go. I also suggest taking time off, trying to work on things that actually excite you and can probably give you immediate feedback, right? It kind of keeps you motivated all the time.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
so I think we have two more things to talk about and then we're done. Okay,
Yeah,
first one
I
is can
think I
board.
think I like to take this word. It sounds very dangerous.
Okay.
Can boredom cost you your career? That's the
Mm.
question. Can it cost you your career? Yes, you. Okay. Chuka, I think you answer this.
Wait, no, you don't put me on the spot. Don't put me on the spot. Uh, hmm.
No, it can't. Boredom
Okay.
in of itself cannot cost your career.
Okay. Can it cost you your job though?
Yeah.
Because job and career is not the same.
Oh, okay. I think it can cost you your career, but it can't cost you your job.
Emmanuel, you're messing with my mind right now. Please help me
Okay,
understand.
okay. So your career is your own. It's not your employer's own, but your job is your employer's own. So boredom cannot cost you your job because your employer cannot say, "Oh, yeah, you're getting bored. Yeah, I'm sacking you." But your career, you're the one building it. So if you get bored, it means you most likely not be moving forward to as fast as you want to. So in
Word,
that
word,
sense,
word.
yes, it can cost you. So if you don't
Okay.
manage boredom well, it will cost you weekends. It will cost you the time you're supposed to be doing something productive. You get?
So I think this final question will just round this episode up. This is
Yep.
do companies or employers care about whether their employees are bored or not? And if they do, what do you think uh these companies or employers can do to tackle this situation? Because I mean, if people are not motivated at your workplace and they're just doing their job, I don't know. I mean, things could be working, but I think things could definitely be better. I don't know, Emmanuel. Just
Def. Well, I think employers care when it affects the business. So a company like Google, for instance, knows this very well that when developers get bored, they don't do as much or something like that. So they invest in things like happiness engineers, or they basically provide family and life and heaven and earth for you so that you can keep on working hard. You
and
get?
ping pong
So
table.
any company that doesn't consider boredom as a problem to the business, they wouldn't care about it. So
I I
it's all
think
based on the company and what they
I
think
think Google
affects your
does this
career
thing
and
as
affects
well
your job.
where I think Google does this thing as well where they I think they give you 1 week to build
20% of
something.
your time,
Yeah,
of your
20%
work
of your
time.
time. I said 1 week, my bad. Sorry. Uh, but yeah, 20% of your work time to just do your own thing and like just, go ahead, be innovative and just create your own, stuff. So yeah, I guess we're
Yeah.
done with the episode. We really, really hope everyone listening learned something new. This is a sprint episode, so we decided to keep
Let's
it
keep up
short.
the pace, man. Man.
So we really hope everyone learned something new, and we really hope you can apply this or these things that we mentioned
Like, don't apply it
into
there.
your. Please, nobody should listen to Emmanuel. Please, he has made his point.
Boredom will
Okay,
kill all of
he's
you.
no longer smart. We're done with the episode. So, really hope you can apply this to your life, to your work life, and every other thing that makes you happy, right? And
Yep.
yeah, literally, really tweet at us and let us know your own personal
Yeah.
experiences getting
I
bored.
think I would love to hear more of the boring
Yeah,
side. So
yes,
you guys
I'm
can tweet at
tired of
us
hearing Emmanuel
what you
talk all the
consider the
time.
most boring.
I like to
most
hear
boring
other
part of your
people.
job is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
We could
right. Thank
probably
you.
even run a campaign to help, Nigerian companies
I don't know about
care
that
about
too.
this.
I don't know about that too.
All right, the episode is done.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening. See you in the next one. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Remember, we release new episodes every other Wednesday, and you can subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcast, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. If you would love to connect with us, you can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at insidethetechos, or subscribe to our newsletter and shoot us an email at insidetechosystem@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners. You can follow the host on Twitter as well, Chuka at Siwadiogu and Emmanuel at Olalua_98. All right, see you in the next one.